I think this 100% fact thing you think we need.
No, stop, Maurice, stop. I am on record countless times of saying I see no path to absolute certainty. I've never asked for 100% fact on anything. So don't pretend that you are representing my position at all, because what you just did was build a straw man that you could knock down. I'm not asking for 100% certainty. I'm not asking you, what position can we reasonably reach about someone reporting something if you don't have any expertise in potential explanations for it?
Well, we're talking about the things that lead to what our belief is.
Well, I'm asking a question. Are you going to answer that, or are you going to move on to something else?
No, I don't have, of course I don't have any professional expertise. No doctor does. No scientist.
But there are doctors that have more expertise than you and I, correct? People who's okay, we know that there are, for example,
there are scientists who say that the universe is too fine-tuned. I don't know about figuring it out, but to me,
don't you think that's important?
It's kind of
obvious. I'm not interested in what's obvious to people without expertise in a particular area. That's not how we go about determining truth.
I asked an atheist friend of mine once at work, and I said, so you believe that, this universe formed kind of accidental like, and the Earth got in this orbital accidental like, and it leaned back on its axis and created seasons kind of accidental like.
Nobody fucking believes that. You are creating yet another straw man. That is not an adequate description of what science has explained about the formation of galaxies, of planets, etc. You're woefully ignorant of the subject, and so you're creating something in order to dismiss the scientific explanations because they conflict with your preferred religious beliefs.
And 100 half-baked ideas don't add up to anything. They add up to zero. So you can't say I've got this half-baked thing and this other half-baked thing, and together they make a whole baked thing. It's not true.
Do you believe people's alien abduction stories?
No, yeah, not at all, because it makes no sense.
Why doesn't it make sense? There's nothing at all supernatural about it. We know. Do you realize how big the universe is? How many planets there are? What's the potential that life also develops somewhere else in the universe?
Probably pretty good.
Probably pretty good. Well, then all we're saying is that you don't believe that aliens have visited Earth. Despite the fact
it's obvious.
What do you mean it's obvious? How would you know?
Through space? Maybe other beings have figured out how to do that too.
Are you convinced that we've been to the moon?
Okay.
Have we been to the moon?
Yes.
Okay. So what is so what?
I just argued with people on Facebook about that.
Yeah. What is it about alien abduction that makes it less plausible than supernatural soul conversations?
Okay, if aliens come here from say another universe, right?
Well, there's not another universe that we know of. Could you go with like solar system, galaxy, something like that?
Solar system, that's what I meant.
Sure, yeah.
Which means they've conquered space travel, right?
Sure.
Which means if the Earth go to another galaxy and find life like us, are they going to hide? No, they're not. We would be able to destroy them with a push. Well, see, you all put out a lot of stuff that's belief or conjecture that you don't allow other people to.
Bullshit. I presented. This is about talking about a claim, and at what point does that claim become plausible? At what point is there sufficient evidence for it? I don't believe in alien abductions because there isn't sufficient evidence for it. I'm not the one who believes the thing that is less plausible by definition. You are. Christian in Denmark, you're on with Don and Matt.
Hi, Don. Hey, Matt. How are you doing?
Hi.
Doing pretty well. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Yes, I'm just as nervous as the last caller, so have patience with me. I'm calling because I live in Denmark, and I grew up a Christian, and my mother is Christian, and my grandparents were Christians, and since I was a child, I have been afraid of hell and ghosts and all that, and that's over the years I have become an antinatalist based on religious grounds, and it's because that I think that many people, even they who have children, they believe that if you don't follow their belief, you will end up in hell. Many religious people believe that, and I think it's immoral.
Yes.
To have children if you think that your children could actually end up in hell. Would you agree with that?
Well, I was going to say, I was thinking that you were going to say that it's immoral to give children this sort of fear-based indoctrination.
Yeah, that's something I would agree with. I find the argument interesting that you would. It's not so much that it seems you're saying you are. Well, I don't know. Are you a theist?
I actually I don't know what I am anymore because the fear of hell is constantly with me, you know.
Okay, well, yeah. I would think that if you were a theist, if you were somebody who actually believed in God, you'd know it. I don't know how you could actually believe something and not necessarily be aware of it. But the argument that if you were a theist, that with the proposition that your offspring was likely to go to hell or at serious risk of going to hell, that you should then be an antinatalist, there might be something there. But arguing that anyone or everyone should be antinatalist, I find absolutely repugnant, because not even in your own story, you're basically prioritizing things that we don't know to be true. It's like the person who called in a few weeks ago suggesting that it would be immoral to have kids because they're going to suffer. And you're prioritizing that life includes suffering over the fact that life includes things that aren't suffering. And so, obviously, if everybody was antinatalist, well, we'd go extinct. And we also wouldn't learn or discover anything else about the universe. We also wouldn't have the opportunity to make our lives better. It's undeniable, given scientific advances, that living in 2019 is much better than living in 1019. In the last 1,000 years, and not only has life expectancy gone up, but the quality of life is increased. I mean, I'm sitting in a temperature-controlled environment here. I'm able to talk to people at great distances and have experiences and learn about things that are outside of my immediate area. For me, I just find it bizarre that someone would say the likelihood of overwhelming suffering in life greatly outweighs any potential joy or happiness and any benefits along those lines. Your argument, though, that if you believed your kids were likely to go to hell, I think could also be flipped on its head, which is the people who believe that would also believe there's a heaven. And so by refusing to have kids, and if they're like of a Christian religion, they're outright disobeying God, because God gave in Christianity and in Judaism, God gave the instruction to be fruitful and multiply. And so they're supposed to have kids. And so to deny that would actually be them standing in opposition to the very God that they believe in, or the doctrine they believe in.
Let me add here, we don't believe you have a soul, and so there won't be anything there to torture.
Yeah, we don't believe in ghosts, and I don't know why anybody would look at like ghosts as something, oh, I shouldn't have a kid for fear that a ghost might boo at them when we don't have any evidence. We don't have any evidence that actually happens. We just have some stories. And similarly,
yeah, I mean, look into the soul thing and find out whether it even holds water. I am convinced it does not. And And then then they're just scaring you for no reason.
Yeah, but when I was about 17 or something, I was having a lot of suffering from depression and something like that, and some of my friends, they thought that I would try to commit suicide, and one of my friends, his mother was some kind of a palm reader and something like that, and she told me that if I would commit suicide, then I would end up in some kind of limbo, ghosts, something like that, and everything would be.
And why would you
a lot
believe
worse.
it? I mean, you do realize that there's no evidence that looking at someone's palm allows you to divine anything at all about their life or their future, right?
No, but it's because she said that she could. She's also one of those persons who claim that she can communicate with the dead and something like that.
Okay, can she prove it?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
if I told you that I can communicate with the dead and I can read palms, and I gave you advice that was the exact opposite of hers, which one of us would you believe and why?
I don't know, and it's a very good question, and I really don't know. But the problem is that these kind of fears, it really affects my life in a very negative way.
Which is why Don was talking about this as the subject for today.
Yeah, I mean, don't let yourself be so easily manipulated. Shore up your critical thinking skills, learn the logical fallacies, learn to look for evidence for things, and challenge these beliefs and get rid of them. They're liabilities.
If I were to tell you, Christian, I've just had a word from the other side, and you need to send me 10,000 US dollars by the end of the week, and if you do, you will be fine. But if you don't, you will be haunted by ghosts for the rest of your existence, and you won't even be able to see that they're there. It's just they'll do little things to constantly make your life go wrong. What do you do when somebody says something like that?
I don't know.
Well, would you? Here's the thing.
Call bullshit.
Here's the thing.
That's what you do.
No, you don't, because you can't prove that. You can't prove it's unfalsifiable. Would you send me the $10,000? No. Is $10,000 worth more than your life or your mental happiness for the rest of your life?
Is $10 million more?
$10,000.
Yeah.
Is that worth more than your mental health and happiness for the rest of your life?
No.
So if you're not going to send me $10,000, how much more ridiculous is it for you to sacrifice willingly your own mental health and happiness for the rest of your life?
For nothing.
It's a good point. I have no. I don't know how to. It's not because I have. It's not because I know it's not rational. So
that's a start.
Beliefs, but I think I don't know. I don't think I'm an atheist. I would not call myself an atheist, because if I was an atheist, maybe I would not be afraid of these things, or some atheists maybe are, because
Well, there's all sorts of shades of gray here. I mean, again, focus on critical thinking skills and skepticism.
At no point were either of us suggesting you need to call yourself an atheist. I mean, you may be, but what you call yourself, I don't care. What we're advocating is that you not accept claims without sufficient evidence, that you not allow unsubstantiated assertions from palm readers, psychics, mystics, shaman, priests, or anybody else who can't demonstrate or has not demonstrated the truth of what they're saying. You shouldn't allow those to affect your life in that way.
And I appreciate you saying that, but if I can say one more thing, is that it's about, there was a program here in Denmark a couple of years ago, and it was about all those near-death experiences. You have talked about them a lot, I think. And there was also a story about a guy from America. I think his name was Eben Alexander or something.
Yeah, that was a lie, and they admitted it was a lie. Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know it. But in that program, there also was a woman from Denmark here, actually from my city. And she said that in 2011, she was very sick and she was brought into the hospital and she had some kind of near-death experience where she experienced hell. And she described it in a very graphic way and somehow it made me feel very bad. And I was, because I have been afraid of hell since I was a kid, because I also used to ask my mother that could not be forgiven because, in Christianity you should forgive and everything. She said that
they get a lot of viewers, and making a show like that very lurid and very eerie plays into the fears and emotions of people like you in the audience.
Yeah.
In the case of the church, who benefits by scaring people that they have a soul and it's going to be tortured? Well, the church benefits because they make money off of that.
And I actually despise that entire line of argument because the fact that somebody benefits from it is independent from whether or not it's true. The only thing that matters is there sufficient reason to conclude that it's true? Because I benefit from all kinds of things that I say.
Sure.
The only issue is, do you have good reason to believe that it's true?
No, not really. But there was, she said, this woman who experienced hell, she said that, the last thing she said that if you ever experienced hell, you would not dare not to believe in God.
Okay.
And I heard...
Why should we care what she says at all?
Can she prove she was in hell?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Do you believe people when they tell you their alien abduction stories?
No.
Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Isn't being abducted by aliens vastly more plausible than a supernatural claim? I mean, there's nothing supernatural about aliens.
And the universe is very big.
So isn't it more likely that somebody's been abducted by an alien that they've actually gone to hell?
I don't know. I don't believe in alien abductions, no. And I'm not saying that I believe in hell. I'm not, listen, I don't say I believe in hell. Hell is still somewhere deep inside.
Why would you be afraid of something that you don't believe in? Are you afraid of the boogeyman? Are you afraid of monsters under your bed?
A lot of different religions have versions of hell. Are you afraid of all of them?
No. Only the Christian.
I won't bet because you were indoctrinated with that, I imagine.
Because they scared the hell into you when you were a little kid.
Yeah. But I don't know how to get out of it. No.
I'm not remotely saying it's easy. I'm not just saying, hey, get over it. I know people who suffer from this all the time. The only thing we can do is keep encouraging people to be rational and ask what the evidence is. And then you have to ask yourself, why am I terrified of something for which I have no evidence? Why is it okay for me to not believe alien abduction stories and yet be terrified of a hell that I also don't believe in?
Yeah.
And get more angry and indignant about your being manipulated.
And you don't have to send us any money. If you'd like to, though, Patreon.com. Yeah. We appreciate all of our supporters through YouTube and Patreon and other efforts, but you don't have to send us money to avoid being haunted.
Yo, Eddie, I'm back in the building.
Okay.
Anyway.
What up? Oh, thank you. This is Art and Education. I am your host, Travis Prince. Welcome to the stream. If this is your first time, I sure appreciate you coming in. Place your comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And as you can see in the newsfeed at the bottom, you can follow my art on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr at Paintings by the Prince. My name is actually Prince, for real. That is my real name. And I make paintings. So for me to remember it, I thought that was just something really easy. Paintings by the Prince. So check out all my stuff. Right now, I am working on a project for the Black Scranton Project. Yo, what up, bro? Got my live stream back finally after months of being banned. So the Black Scranton Project will be exhibiting a collection of art and culture at the Everhart Museum in Scranton for Black History Month in 2020, which is just a couple months away. And right now I am working on a mock-up for the exhibit that I plan on putting together. And I can't find my X-Acto knife for some reason, so I'm using this blade right here to try to cut this thing out. So what I want to put together is in my opinion, do I think aliens are more advanced? In my opinion, bro, I really don't know. There's a really strong chance that we are the most advanced form of intelligent, sentient life that there is. And if we can manage not to destroy ourselves and actually venture out and start colonizing other planets, that we will be the protogenesis of other species. So let's say if we do colonize Mars in 2,000-3,000 years, the Martians will become a distinctly different race than Earthlings, because the climate and everything else is different. And if we can leave and go to another star system where there's a blue star instead of a yellow star or something, and inhabit these areas for thousands of years, then you would eventually become more adapted to your new surroundings, and you would be a different species. So there's a really strong chance that we are the first, and we will become many different alien races in the future. People assume they are. At the same time, like if I just don't see how an alien race can be so advanced enough to actually travel between star systems and not make its presence known, you know. And some people say, well, they may be just the observers, and this comes from the first time I actually heard this concept was from a young age. There's this series of books called So My Teacher is a Space Alien, and they're like written for elementary kids. I forgot the author's name, but he's really good at simplifying like complex diplomacy issues for kids. And so this one kid found out that his science teacher, was a space alien, and then the alien just confessed. He was like, "Yeah, I'm not from this planet." And the kid was like, "So why don't everybody know about this?" And he basically said that, like, look, yo, the human species, you're still just a baby. Y'all don't understand stuff. Y'all down here warring and killing people for no reason over religion and bullshit, and you're still like burning fossil fuels for energy and stuff. He's like, y'all need to grow and advance a little bit more before we make ourselves known to you, because we have a technology where if you would have possession of it now, you will destroy yourselves. Because like the stuff we have is way more advanced than you guys got, and so we have to like keep you guys in the dark and keep our presence unknown until you're ready to be civil with everyone. And so in that instance, if aliens are visiting here, I can kind of maybe see that, but at the same time, like if you're a space faring race, then you're gonna go somewhere and you're gonna harness all the minerals and energy that you can, and you would make your presence known to a species, whether they're advanced or primitive or not. We would be able to see the presence of a vastly superior intellectual race. My teacher is, I think the first one was, my teacher is a space alien, and then the second book was like something like My Teacher Fried My Brains, and it was a third book to it. And like I said, I read those when I was in elementary, like in the 80s, yo. And that was the first time that, like I said, that the whole concept was that that the human race just isn't ready to be. It was like this galactic council, and there was, everyone else knew, like, you know, there are other civilizations and different species of beings, and we all share technology and we all share science, but there are primitive people that we can't let in yet. And that was the whole thing, like, you know, the human race on Earth, you guys are still a little bit too young to come play with the big boys. But, you know, there was already this whole galactic council that was already formed with like 9 different governing bodies and different, like, the shit was deep. And like, but Earth was just left out because we still go to war with each other and destroy our own planet. And like, we're just fucking basically barbarians, and we're not ready to be a part of that shit yet. And that was the whole concept of the book. And it was like, I was like, that was pretty dope, yo, even at a young age. Like, but I've always been on shit like that. Like, that sci-fi alien shit has always been where I've been at. And I don't know if I want to cut this with this right here, which will go through the cardboard, but it's kind of hard to do, or the carpet knife. But that thing doesn't really cut all the way through the board. But I was on the ancient alien theory, the Anunnaki theory, for a long time as well, but I you know, gradually really just started to debunk those things for myself. And one of the main reasons for for me not believing the ancient alien theories and, oh, well, aliens built Stonehenge and they built the pyramids, is like, well, if you're saying aliens did that, that means you're saying that human beings couldn't have done that. And I don't accept that, because when you look back into antiquity, you realize just how smart humans were back then. And I do think that humans did build all those megalithic structures themselves, and we just lost the ability to do so. Yeah. Come on. Alright. I'm actually doing like arts and crafts up in this joint today, guys. I ain't even painting. I'll show y'all some of my paintings up close though. Unique, yeah. If you still in here, I'll let you see some of my stuff up close. It still doesn't really compare to seeing it in person. Dang, I don't know if I should have used this thick ass cardboard. This shit is like 2-ply. I need them big, you know, them big silver scissors, them old grandma scissors. When she used to, when grandma used to sew and stuff, and she'd be cutting that denim, them big razor blade, with like 2 swords. Scissors be sharp as I don't know what. This ain't working. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I need to figure out an easier way, cause this blade in here is just dull as hell, and them scissors is working me harder than I'm working them. I don't like that. I need to work the tools. The tools don't need to work me. and I can't find my X-Acto blade where I can just cut through it like butter. I'm stressing now. I'm about to be. But I got time, and I ain't got nothing to do other than this project that I'm working on. I hope this thing turns out like I'm seeing it in my mind. Because if it don't, y'all might see a sane man go crazy. What if I just use a new blade? I forgot I had new blades. Now what I do with the damn thing? Jesus Christ. Oh, that blade new on the other side. Oh shit. I think I broke it. Back in business. Yo, them big ass silver scissors, you know what I'm talking about. Yo, grandma had those shit since 1890. They was her grandma's scissors. Those was the first scissors ever made. Come on, dang. Cause I ain't gonna lie to you. See, that's all you need to do is see that line on the back. Then you can come back that way. Ha 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 ha. So what I want to do is, right, I want to make this. Y'all say why he ain't got no arms. Like, this dude ain't got no arms. But see, he gonna be lifting some weights, right? So I'm gonna draw his arms in like a bar set of weights on a different panel, and then attach that panel to the front so you can pull a string and make his arms do like this. In theory, that's what I want to accomplish. Now, if I can't get it to work, I don't know who I'm gonna blame it on, but I'm gonna find somebody else to blame it on. Cause I'm not taking the blame for it. It's my own idea, and I said I would make it work. But if I can't, somebody got to go down, and it won't be me. You know, I will come up with an excuse so fast. It would have worked if I had them silver scissors, and see, I ain't had no silver scissors, and that's why the contraption went awry, because of the scissors, the absentee of the scissors. Shit. Yeah, you can throw them scissors and make them stick in the wall right through the sheetrock. You ain't gonna go to jail. You're just gonna be scorned. How dare you mess up this project, Mr. Eddie? Did you prevent Travis from putting his contraption together? Yes, ma'am. He kept disrupting me and distracting me, telling jokes about midget strippers pillow fighting and stuff. How I'm supposed to concentrate when he talking about midget strippers having pillow fights? The audacity of this man. Boo his character. Boo you, sir. Boo. Phew, shit. They must be putting real wood in this cardboard. I'm cutting the table up. Damn. Man, I ain't gonna lie. If I pull this off, I'm the GOAT. If not, I'm still the GOAT. Didn't cut it deep enough. Ugh. Like butter, baby. Yo, who been watching that Wu-Tang show, man? Yo. Wu-Tang American Saga? Oh my God. I can't wait for the next episode. What? So this is just a mock-up version. The real thing is gonna be like 5 feet tall. Oh shit. Damn. Oh man. Yo, John Witherspoon died. John Witherspoon, damn, nigga, you dead. Damn. I'ma miss you, Mr. Witherspoon. How John Witherspoon died, man. Damn. Y'all don't understand. Yo, he made the Boondocks, yo. That shit was too funny. Mr. Witherspoon, rest in peace. Who drank my orange juice? I need my daily dose of vitamin C. Mr. Freeman. Gee. So now, this is what I have. Pretty dope, right? It's nice. And I did it in 44 minutes. Well, not 44 minutes, because I was talking for a minute. I need to go grab a snack. And refill my and drink it. Drink.
Well, thank you for taking the call.
Sure, thanks, Christian.
Good luck to you.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Yeah, it's not something that's easy to set aside. Irrational fears, especially, I mean, lots of people have irrational fears and they recognize, oh, this is irrational. Including, I know people who are afraid of snakes who don't know nothing about snakes, who've never touched a snake. And for some reason, in a lot of people's head, if they've never done this, they have this notion that snakes are slimy. And so, my favorite thing is to get them to actually touch a snake if they're willing. I'm not going to throw a snake at them. That would be a dick move. But once you've actually handled a snake that's, non-venomous and friendly and, all of a sudden, hang on, it starts breaking down
you build
preconceived
some new memories of that. And, it might help Christian to go learn about all the different versions of hell and all the different ideas that are there, because it's a very mixed up and goofy concept.
At a minimum, if you're going to buy into this notion, you should try to figure out which hell you should try to avoid.
There you go.
Because if you avoid the wrong hell,
you're wasting your time.
What good is that?
Yeah.
If you spend all this time giving money to the Catholic Church to avoid the Catholic version of hell, and it turns out that a really strange esoteric Buddhist version of hell, I think it's Naranj, maybe, I'm not going to pronounce
Cthulhu
it right.
or something.
It is more plausible. You just kind of screwed yourself for eternity.
Yeah.
Or you could do the reasonable thing, which is to say, I don't have any reason to think that there's anything after I die for me to experience, that there's no me left to experience. And until that changes, it would be intellectually dishonest for me to prioritize one version of hell over another, or one version of heaven over another. And that's the big dilemma, even if you only had a couple of options. Should you be working to avoid the worst hell, or should you be working to get to the best heaven?
Yeah.
It's
kind of sadly ironic that on our Halloween episode here, we're dealing with people's real fears of unreal places.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you encounter a question like that, where the honest answer is, gosh, I don't know which hell I should try to avoid, or whether I should avoid a hell or seek a heaven, I don't know. If that's the right answer, then start getting just a little bit more comfortable with saying I don't know and acting.
Alright, you do your way to do it. I just do it like this. God dang, it just opened up, bro. Shoot. hard to flip these big ass pages. Alright, so if I do like this, right? Alright.
If you,
Wow. That's like 3 or 4 chips stuck together. I'll say that one for last. The mega chip is what we call them. And for some reason, my internet just went out. Why? On my laptop, constantly disconnect from the internet, yeah. I'm not sure how this is gonna work. Alright, so if I do that. What? What is wrong with this thing? What? That was ridiculous. Why did I only bring 1 bag of these up here? Man, you talking about something busting? Boy. Scotty boy, what up? I know who the fuck you is, boy. What up, fool? Hey man, you see, I'm still an artist. Ain't shit changed. What's good with you, man? How the kids and the wife and all that good stuff. I hope she ain't leave your ass yet. Naked Bob, rest in peace, Naked Bob. I'm in here making art, bro. What? In here making this art. So there's gonna be 3 phases to this, right? So you see, like, well, I just drew his shoulder, well, the top of his shoulders right there, right? So, aha, I'm gonna cut those out, right? And then I'm gonna draw his arms with a barbell, so you can move it up and down like that. And so he'll be like, and lifting the weights. Yo, that is gonna be hot, son. Hot to death. Alright, so I got that part. I'm gonna have to cut that out. Make those up. Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Everybody keeps telling me to get that, to get the new Call of Duty, man. I might break down and get it because I haven't played video games with a lot of you guys in a couple years, man. Like we just diverged from games. I know you was like hardcore in Destiny and it just wasn't my thing, but I will make an investment just to chat with you guys for hours at a time. If we can get a game that all of us want to play, and you know, whenever we have a couple hours to sit down and play games, if y'all want that shit to be Call of Duty, I'll get that shit just for that, bro. Just cause you try, hey, you know what? It's a good idea, but the more moving parts you have, the more chances you have for something fucking up. Let's keep it simple. Hey man, elbows and shoulders. That's enough. She said put the knees in it. You want that man doing that? That's too much, bro. You should I'm just saying, make his knees bend. I ain't trying to do you. Somebody gonna want his neck to move and all kind of stuff, man. Yo, he gonna be like this. And that's just all I can give to people. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can give to people. Jesus Christ. I gotta go get another bag of them chips. I ain't lying to you, man. Them shits is bussin'. Them chips is bussin'. A lot of campers. Yeah. But still, man, it's not camping. It's a strategic gameplay. It's a war game. You gotta play strategically. Oh, damn. Yo, I'm not gonna say, like, you know, when I paint myself, I purposely try to make myself look better. But when I paint myself, I purposely try to make myself look better. I ain't gonna lie. That nigga, he kinda handsome right there. You know what I'm saying? Like this, from this angle, he don't look too bad. But then you see in real life, you can't get them same effects, man. That shit just don't work right in real life. But on the painting, ooh, he handsome. Real life. Art. Real life. That shit ain't the same. I'm just saying. Oh, so much of a glare. Can't even see it. This piece is called Something from Nothing. How do you get something from nothing? Something from nothing. Oh shit. Oh my god, man, I'm about to knock this damn thing over. Yeah, I'm about to knock the whole computer, laptop system, all that. Still working on this piece. It's not done yet. The boobies. Man, some chicks got boobs and some chicks got breasts. Them are some breasts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, who got my boobs? A boob is a handful. Anything more than a handful, that's a breast. You gotta use the proper term. You know what I'm saying? You gotta got some breasts. That's the difference between a booty and a butt. Y'all gotta learn the terminology, man. Is she working with a booty or a butt? Do she got boobs or do she got breasts? There is a difference. Oh my god, the light in here is just so terrible. Like, you can't really see how stunning this stuff is. I'm working on that, adding some flowers. I gotta finish drawing out. You can see the pencil marks in there. Gotta finish drawing out the flowers on her shirt. She got a real flowery shirt, and then the gold circle. You know, that halo, that crown. The crown. Damn, that gold leaf. That shit look like a whole light shining behind her head, yo. When that light hit it a certain way, it just turned all white like that. I love that effect. You know what I'm saying? Black queens, black goddesses. Hard. Now, oh man, studio getting junky. I'm getting in the way of myself. I'm getting in the way of myself. Why does my internet keep timing out on me like this? This is ridiculous. This doesn't make any sense. totally messed up, dude. Alright, while this is trying to reconnect, I'm gonna go grab another bag of those chips because they're delicious and I have the munchies. Alright, I'm back. And I decided, oh, that's off. Let's see. Instead, I decided to get tortilla chips because I'm greedy. And I got a pocket full of sauce. What? Boy, don't play with me. You think I don't know how to snack, fool? Not a snack. We got some creamy spinach dip, right? So what you do is you get you some spinach dip. That's delicious. But what is this? Oh my God. Is he gonna add something to the dip? That horseradish. Man, some people know, some people don't. Man, you don't know about that horseradish with that spinach dip. Y'all crazy. Then, what you pull out the cut? Not one of the Goya. Not the Goya ginger beer. Come on, man. Y'all don't know how to snack. I don't think y'all know how to have snacks, yo. Snack time. Stop playing. That's how you have a snack. What? Oh yeah. Oh shit. Oh, no munchies gonna get you, boy. With a name like Dutch Master, it has to be good. Oh, munchies gonna catch up to you. And when you get ready to snack, it better be something good. I don't play with my snacks, yo. My snacks be on point. My snacks be like little meals. The latest one I did, I'll be right back. This is the one before the last. Dang. Yeah, you don't know, man. This right here, beautiful. So I got finished with that one a little while ago. I did 2 commissions. They already gone. I did 2 commissions, and then I finished the painting of myself for my next series. I just showed this one off. Yeah, thanks, Dutch. Man, you better stop talking and do something about that shit, boy. A sandwich is calling you peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly. I call this something from nothing. How you get all of this stuff from nothing? Huh? You telling me light, gravity, electricity, motherfucking magnetism, all of this shit, all of these phenomena, consciousness, all that shit come from nothing. Something from nothing. The Dank series gotta stay up. Dank. Thank you. No thanks. I don't want any, no thanks. So I did that one. I'm still working on this one. This is gonna be a bigger one of me, cause I like painting myself big. So this is just a drawing so far, but you know, eye is looking kind of questionable. Keep his shirt off for some reason. I don't know why. Always trying to flex and whatnot. Phony ass motherfucker. Never got his shirt on. I don't know what this dude be thinking. Why y'all be taking your shirt off, Trap? He always. I tell you, this guy. Then I'm working on this one with the gold circle. I've been doing a lot of gold circles lately. They look appealing to me. I still got a lot of work to do on this. This is just the underpainting. Just one layer of paint, but I'll hop back on that after I finish some other stuff. Add another piece to my new series. That shit gonna be hot. Thickums. I'm working on this piece. Oh shit, I'm dropping brushes. Working on this piece with gold circle, gold goddesses, you know what I'm saying? Gold goddesses, gold goddesses. I'm saying the gold circles be blinging, bling bling with the gold. You know, making these beautiful black queens look like they beautiful black queens. You know what I'm saying? Gotta make it do what it do. Who with a who, you know? That's what I be trying to tell them, Dutch. This is art. With the shit, nigga. I'm gonna fuck something up for real. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna cause a catastrophe. Or at least a calamity. At the very least, a travesty. Ooh. You ever had a drink so good make you do the Cabbage Patch? Huh? Ooh. 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 That shit was delicious, man. I'm trying not to get drunk, but I don't know. I'm just saying, it's Friday, shit. I ain't got nothing to do but make art and talk shit. It's way easier to talk shit when you tipsy and got a full stomach. I'm halfway there. Y'all motherfuckers better watch out. You know? Shit. Goddamn Trump say he gonna build a wall in Colorado. I cannot let this shit slide. Been talking about this shit for 4 days now. That man said Trump said he gonna build a wall in Colorado. A big, beautiful wall that works. Now, if you voted for Trump, I'm not gonna call you an idiot to your face. No, I will call you an idiot to your face. I'm gonna call you a dumb motherfucker behind your back, though. No. Around the garden. Protect his crops. But that motherfucker's stupid. I'm scared that there is a man running this country and he don't know what the country look like. No. Well, that makes it even worse. If he live in Colorado now, and he still don't know where Colorado at, that's fucked up. But I mean, there's countless times I've misspoken or said something incorrectly, and then later on be like, oh, I really didn't mean to say that. You know, just talking too fast or whatever. And I can understand that. Especially if like different shit is on your mind. Like if you're really thinking about something else and then you start talking about a different subject, you might pull something in from what's really on your mind. Like he just moved to Colorado. And so Colorado is really on his mind. And so he's talking about states and he says Colorado, but he really didn't mean to. And I can kind of understand that. Yeah. Here in America, we don't like Trump. Some of us. But that's the thing though, like, bro, you're speaking for the whole country. When you look dumb, you make all of us look dumb. Like, stop it. People in the Netherlands think all Americans are as dumb as you, and we're not. Just shut up, man. It's fucked up, bro. And then once again, it's weird because, like, people in America probably don't really keep up with political issues and the heads of state for the Netherlands. But the Netherlands still have an opinion of the current United States president because it matters. And it's weird, like, Americans really don't see how the rest of the world perceives us. And right now, we're like a fucking joke. A joke, yo. Now, hey, what can I do about it? I'm just some black guy eating tortilla chips, man, running my mouth. I can't change shit.
Boop, here we go. Hello, Kyle.
Hey, man, what's going on?
What's going on, buddy?
Good to see you again.
Good.
What? This shit is buffering already? And thank God it's Friday. Wait, what you say, Ronnie? Holy crap. I didn't hardly catch any of that. Coming here talking about Trump, yo.
Boom. Here we go. Hello, Kyle.
Hey man, what's going on?
What's going on, buddy?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you in your wonderful pink shirt.
Yeah, it's confident.
Wow, my internet just keeps going out on this thing. You know what? Screw this laptop.
This Veterans Day weekend, discover the real heroes who beat the odds. Today we're gonna beat underdogs and changed history. You'll remember this moment for the rest of your life. Midway, rated PG-13, November 8th.
If it were easy to make money in the stock market, everybody'd be doing it. They're not rich, and you know there's a reason why. I'm telling you, the stock market has changed my life, and I've learned some really simple techniques that can help you become
Alright,
consistently.
whatever. Who gives a fuck? Alright, back to the project. Alright, wait a minute. Let me do this first. Yo, y'all don't know how good this was, yo. Spinach dip with some horseradish. Delicious. That is if you like horseradish or spinach.
And here we.
Why? Why do you do this? Try to give it a second chance. Obviously, it doesn't want to work. That's messed up.
Go. First of all, gentlemen, thanks for being here. Jeremy, thanks for coming back again.
Thanks, Joe.
And
It's something to do with the Bluetooth. It seems like as long as that shit is connected to the Bluetooth, the internet buffers. Joe Rogan.
I always know the conversation's gonna
He
be.
talks with Edward Norton? Really? I ain't gonna lie, y'all think Edward Norton was the best Incredible Hulk. I'm definitely probably gonna eat some more of these chips and dip. But I'm not gonna lie, yo. I said the last time was the last time I was gonna fix a drink. But this time, what? But this time is seriously the last time I'm gonna have a drink. I promise. Let's see. I'm gonna keep these chips and dip up here though, because I'll probably eat some more of that. I shall return. This is Joe Rogan, and he's talking with Ed Norton. If you don't know who Edward Norton is, have you ever seen The 25th Hour? He was the star of that. Oh, him and Brad Pitt did Fight Club together. Classic movie. Yo, classic. You never seen Fight Club? What the fuck? Yo, Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, tear that shit up, yo. But yeah, Ed Norton. He played Incredible Hulk one time. Fucking great ass actor, yo. He's on the Joe Rogan show.
Start when I meet a fellow Lenny Bruce fan.
Yes. Yeah, that was, and I, you know, there's that line in Fight Club, the things you own end up owning you.
Yeah.
And I generally am not a stuff guy, but when I came in here, I did find myself going, this is the right kind of place to keep stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been wandering around looking at things, and that was my favorite thing that I saw. You have a couple of great Lenny Bruce posters.
Yeah.
One of which I've never seen.
Which one? Oh,
the one with his where he it's really wild. He looks like an Indian guru or something staring into the middle distance. That's an amazing photograph of him.
Yeah, I kind of bought as much vintage Lenny Bruce stuff as I could find. And this place has sort of evolved into a semi-gallery. You know, it's I would like to have a house with nothing in it, and then have this place just filled with shit.
No, I kind of agree with that. Also, I think that it's fun when you have people come through a space so that you're actually like sharing the things. Like it's sort of like you're letting someone come in and wander.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the best museums in the world are people's individual curation. Some of the best art collections ever made are better than any museum because they're put together by someone, and you're finding like the threads and things. You know?
Yes.
So I think when you can assemble like things that have meant something to you, but you can put them in a space where other people can bump into them, it's better than just like then letting them just collect dust in your own home where you stop looking at them. You know.
You have a very unusual perspective for someone who makes a living as an actor.
What do you mean? Why do you think so?
You're very.
American History X. Yeah, he was in that too.
I know a lot of awful actors.
I do too.
Yeah.
But it's not common. You got to find them. You got to curate those folks.
Yeah, it's a funny gig by definition. It's like if you think about all the like the yin yang in it, the paradoxes in it. It's like on the one hand, with guys as actors, there will be a lot of there's a certain kind of not macho, but there's like men will look to play intense roles and these things. But what you're doing is like it's you're playing dress up, like you're like, and I always like the Dorothy Parker, the famous New York writer, said, "Scratch an actor, you'll find an actress." And I think it's the greatest line. It's not how it sounds, just to be a little, like, because that's not a knock on actresses.
No.
Or a but that's the real truth of the whole thing. Is like we put on makeup, we put on clothes, we play dress up, and we pretend to be other people. And it's like it really is like, when people are like, sometimes my brother and sister will laugh because I've done these certain things that have a certain kind of iconic intensity or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and they look at me and they're like, "Are you kidding? Like, have you ever seen the size of his ankles?" They're like, "My brother's like, he's such a twerp. Like, my brother's like 2 inches bigger than me and 30 pounds bigger and way stronger. My little brother." and it's always like he's a theater nerd. He's not like tough. They're like, don't
When you
buy
played the Hulk.
Yeah, no, but
Or American
History
History
X.
X. Yeah.
I do think there's sometimes it's really funny the way there's a posture in it. Sometimes there's like a public facing posture that some people who are in this weird thing will adopt, and it's like hey man, I hate to tell you, but like you don't have to live into it. I sometimes feel like people are compensating for the fact that what they do, in fact, is play dress up.
Right. Do you think it's also that they have to kind of project this image to ensure that they get more of these tough guy roles, or
maybe I don't know. I think or maybe it's like that's who they wanted to be. Maybe in a weird way they're living into some people. I think they relish the opportunity to change the story of who they are. You know what I mean? They're getting to through getting well known. They're getting this chance to sort of like wipe the slate of whatever it is they were getting away from, and they're getting to, the chance to sort of create a persona that they're happier with than before.
Right, like what they wish they always were.
Yeah.
At their darkest times.
Yeah, or there's I also think there's a funny thing, which is there's this history of famous actors, right? So I do think it sort of begins with Brando, because Brando had such an enormous effect on the psychology of men in America. He really like, and if you look at what I would call like the great generation of American actors, the Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro, Robert Duvall, Gene Hackman, Al Pacino, Morgan Freeman, Meryl Streep, like this, the whole that's all like the post-Brando generation. Mm. All of those people, literally all of them, wanted to become actors because of Marlon Brando. Mm. And he so rewrote the idea of what it was, what it could be, that you had got a whole, it was like what Bob Dylan did in the culture. It was like it just rewrote the game. Almost.
Or like what Lenny did with Kong.
Yeah, absolutely. Lenny Bruce. There are these people who come and they have like a kind of a permanent. They're a permanent before and after.
Yes.
In a certain kind of field. You know what I mean?
Hendrix with the guitar.
Yes, I would say so. In rock guitar, yeah. Although it is interesting when you go back and look at rock in that era. There's that famous story I don't remember if it's like Pete Townsend making Eric Clapton come with him to hear Hendrix and Clapton crying.
Yes.
About it.
Yeah, I heard that story.
But you also can't discount what Clapton in there's those famous photos of the wall, Clapton is God, it's hard to you can't really underrate what Clapton did to guitar, in that era too.
Right. No, he was phenomenal, but it was a different thing.
It was a different thing. Yeah. Jimi Hendrix was a protean.
He seemed like he broke through to a new dimension.
Yeah, I agree.
He popped through the membrane of existence into this new sound. And there's guys that are like there's people that have a distinct sound. Like, are you a Gary Clark Jr. fan?
No, I can't.
Gary Clark Jr. is a phenomenal blues guitarist.
Okay.
And he has a sound that's almost instantaneously recognizable as Gary Clark Jr. You hear him and you go, oh my God, there it is. Like, everyone who works with him is just like, they just walk away sweating, just going, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
It's phenomenal.
I feel that way about Willie Nelson. I think Willie Nelson is legitimately in country music, like, there's before and after Willie Nelson, and you can say that he, that Hank Williams Jr. or whatever, but Willie Nelson to me is the hinge which it goes from being something that had, it had a Nashville kind of Grand Ole Opry kind of polish to it, and he basically took it, he reclaimed it as this like American roots thing, and put jazz in it. That's what's so crazy is anyone who plays music knows like Willie Nelson is essentially a jazz guitar player, and Redheaded Stranger is, to me, that's a before and after kind of a thing too. Like there's that whole outlaw thing, and I think there's a whole lot of. It's almost like after that, there's two camps. There's still going to be like the Steve Earle in his Copperhead Road thing is more the Push thing, but then there's like Steve Earle roots Steve Earle. You know what I mean? It's like he almost like straddled it, but my point about Brando was just that like he changed the idea of the type of person that male actors wanted to be. Suddenly it was like they wanted to have like a patina or a reputation as a visceral. They wanted to be visceral, not polished. They wanted to be muscular. They wanted to be masculine. They wanted to be, intense. Like those were not the kind of words that people, when you think back on like Jimmy Stewart, Cary Grant, like that is not what that is not what movie stars were aspiring to. They were aspiring to polish, a kind of a polish before Brando, and
there was an
after
authenticity,
Brando's,
right?
Yeah.
There's a waterfront, like the I could have been a contender thing.
Yeah.
Like when he's doing that, you're like, well, this is how someone would actually behave if they felt like their life had been a disaster and it could have been avoided.
Well, you just hit on something though that it drives me nuts, because whenever people sort of talk about Brando, they're like, there's sort of the Stanley Kowalski, the brutal masculinity, etc. The thing about Brando is he is beautiful. He's kind of this enormous Roman-looking guy, but where he really kills is this kind of broken sensitivity that he had, and I could have been a contender is not a tough guy speech.
Right.
It's the opposite. It's a broken tough guy. It's a guy practically crying, saying like, you were my brother, and you should have looked out for me. I needed you looking out for me, and my life's gone down the toilet because of that. In that moment, you didn't look out for me. It's like tearful. It's not, and even the best moment of Stanley Kowalski in Streetcar is really, it's like when he falls on his knees in front of his wife and cries. You know what I mean? It's like that's what he was way better in a lot of ways. To me, it's the fact that he was actually kind of in touch with his emotional life. It's not that he was like so macho at all. It's that he looked that way, but he actually had this like poetic sensitivity.
Yes, and it resonated real, like it felt real.
Yeah.
And if you watch actors before him, there was a certain undeniable theatric element to what they were doing that was like, oh, this guy's acting.
Yeah.
Whereas he seemed like a guy who was really living the scene.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of it sometimes I think it sounds silly to say the instrument of a person, but he has this crazy, he looks the way he looks, but he's got this marble mouthed, he's not articulate. He doesn't come off as like there's a mushiness to the way he speaks, and a kind of a it doesn't have style. The guys before that, you felt that they were working on their style.
Yeah.
And he seemed to be sort of like scratching his ribs and mumbling and in a t-shirt, and he was kind of present in the moment.
I think it was all accentuated by the way he ended his life. Like the end of his life, he was enormous.
Yeah.
Gigantic fat guy, and he just given in to all of his vices, and he was just this guy. He was a beautiful man.
Yeah.
He just didn't seem to give a fuck about that at all.
Yeah, I think he said something to me one time about how much he was enjoying his life when he was like 23. And he's like, even when he was doing the play Streetcar that made him famous, he was telling me like he would get with his pal Diego and go up to Harlem, go to clubs and hit on girls and all these things. And I said, you weren't aware of what was going on, And he goes, well, I was aware of a certain amount of noise rising, and then one day I woke up and I was sitting on a pile of candy. That's what and I thought, what a really wild way to say it. And I do think, I'm not even joking, to me, it's like what you said. It was like after that, they were just, it was like there was no boundaries. He was like, he was getting everything was, he wasn't going to be able to resist. He wasn't disciplined.
Yeah.
He wasn't a super disciplined person. He was a very poetic person. And I don't think he was disciplined. And I think that a lot of what happened, he had like something like 17 children. And he got, he had appetites and he had these things. And I think that, I do think that he, struggled to deal with all the things that came with being that famous,
And being that famous when there wasn't really a lot of examples of how to do it right or wrong before you.
Yeah.
It's sort of the Elvis thing, right?
It's the Elvis thing. The flip is like Dylan, who I still find myself, like when you watch the new Scorsese, have you seen that thing, Rolling Thunder? It's really worth watching that. Or the original Scorsese doc about him, No Direction Home. Like, here's this guy, he's like in his early 20s, and they're coming at him with all this like Voice of Your Generation, all this stuff, and he's like, that's nothing I can relate to, man. And he's going, like, I can't help wondering if Lenny Bruce loved Dylan. I don't know that, but I would think that Lenny Bruce was tuned in to Dylan, because Dylan's thing was like, don't ask me what it means, man. I wrote it. I don't know what it means. What do you think it means? He was just constantly going, buzz off, man. I'm not picking it apart for you. I'm not going to pick it apart for you. I'm not going to like buy into this stuff you're putting at me. And how did he have, he was 21 years old. Like, who resists people falling all over them to call them great when they're that age?
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody has that kind of like
sensibility
to go, everything you're bringing at me is going to be bad for me. And it's like, if you watch those interviews with him when he's that age, it's pretty astonishing, because to your point, like, you're like, oh, thoughtful act, whatever. I look at him and I'm like, nobody has that discipline at that age.
Yeah, it's amazing how uniquely qualified he was for that position at that point in time, and that very strange, tumultuous time in history as well.
And not only that, right at the moment that like Joni Baez brings him out on the stage at the Newport Folk Festival and basically goes, this is the Prince, I anoint you, he's the one, he's Neo, he is the one. And the next year, he doesn't even take 1 year to go, let me just lean into your love. The next year he comes with an electric guitar and plugs it in at the Newport Folk Festival, and people start screaming in agony, like going, what are you doing? Like, you're Bob Dylan, you're the king of folk, you can't plug in a guitar. And people are like running to try to cut his cords with an axe in this thing. Like, that's how much of a betrayal. And he's like, there's people yelling traitor at him, and he's going, I don't believe you. I think you're a liar. Like, and he's turning around to Robbie Robertson and going, play it loud. I mean, the guy is so punk rock.
Wow.
He's so totally punk rock. He was as punk rock as anybody ever.
I think he probably had to be, just to resist what they were trying to box him into.
Yeah, but there's never been anybody who was more like, oh, you like what I'm doing? I'm gone. I'm over here. Like, enjoy. You're going to not like it because you like what I just did. Now where I'm going, you're going to be discombobulated and upset. And eventually you're going to catch up. And then when you catch up, I'm going to move on to something else. Like, it really is amazing. It's amazing. Because how many people do you know in any of the things we all do who get a taste of a thing and don't, like, lean into it for a while, right? Like, who don't kind of go, well, this feels good,
Yes.
Maybe I'll just hang out right here. And
well, it's always weird when you see somebody lean into something and it's not really them, and they become what people want of them, and you like, a great example in comedy was Kinison, when he made it. Everybody wanted to lay these gigantic lines of coke for him, apparently. They're like, oh, it's him, he's here.
Right.
Jump.
Right.
They just laid some giant line of coke, and he would joke around about it, like, I had to do it.
Oof.
And, he would do, a giant line, and almost have a fucking heart attack.
Right, I can't not live into the thing, because then
yes,
they'll stop trusting it, or
But you become a caricature. You become this thing, like Dice Clay is another example. Like Dice Clay used to be one part of his act. His name's Andrew Silverstein.
Right.
So he would do his act, and then the Dice Man was a character that he would do. But people loved it so much when he would do that character that the character became his whole act, and then he became the character. Where you see him in real life, he's wearing like weightlifting gloves and he's walking around in a Gold's Gym T-shirt. He became that guy. He's hilarious still, but he's that guy now. Like,
but now he's kind of out the backside of that, when you say.
In what way?
Well, now he's like acting in things.
He does do that and act well.
Yeah.
But he still does the same kind of stand-up.
Really?
Like, if you go see him, it's still hilarious, irreverent, just complete, like, not of this era.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I think it's interesting. I think in that vein, like if you look at Howard Stern, who I've met only a couple times, but I found him to be like an extremely thoughtful guy. Like, and I don't mean that. He just was very intelligent, really smart. I mean, that's again. But he's also like, I don't know, the conversation. We had mutual friends, and I really enjoyed talking to him. Like I thought like, oh, there's nothing tricky about him at all. He's really like down in his shoes. He's interested. He actually asks questions. I mean, there's some people you meet and you're just like, oh my God, they're talking in a mirror. That you're a mirror and they're just looking at themselves while they speak to you.
They're waiting for you to get done talking so they can talk.
Yeah. But but I think what I think is really interesting is like, so Howard, imagine the pressure. Because I grew up in the Baltimore area. He was on DC radio. He was on DC 101. I remember that, the shock of him, literally. And imagine, the pull to deliver on what you've built, which was obviously, a huge audience that wanted this thing. To me, it's really interesting and impressive that Howard's kind of, and I'm saying like I know him, I don't know him, but watching it, to me, this idea that he's kind of said, hey, look, I'm gonna be honest about where I'm at, and in some measure, I'm gonna say there's things I've done I regret. There's ways I've treated certain people in the interest of the show that I'm kind of done with that. I don't really want to be that guy, and in some measure, he's kind of saying to the audience, like, you got to deal with me where I am now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, like, it's not like there's like a huge risk in that, because his audience is gigantic, right?
Well, it's also he's so successful and so universally praised as being the most important figure in the history of radio. Like, there's no one who does like what I do, podcasts, that doesn't owe a gigantic debt of gratitude to Howard Stern. The fact that he was getting fined by the FCC. They were hundreds of thousands of dollars. He kept getting fired from radio stations. He kept doing it the way he did.
That there was a tolerance for long form, basically. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like people knock on Netflix or whatever. I'm like anything. There's an amazing thing going on in the world right now, which is people are reproving or reconnecting with the fact that, for all of what goes on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all this bullshit, like, the truth is people like and have the appetite for, and their brains enjoy longer form conversations and longer form stories more than it was assumed they did. You know what I mean? And like, popular culture feeds us a lot of like fast food and Xanax in like a speedball of you can't handle anything, you don't want anything more than literally like a little bit of junk food with a little bit of Xanax, because you just want to lie on your couch and watch someone else save the world. I know that's all you want, but that is not true. And I think, like, you look at things like from Peaky Blinders to Chernobyl to like the Ken Burns Civil War series, like, we're going through this thing where people are realizing, like, no, that's not actually true. People actually, like you, my pal Dax, Shepard, who's got a great radio show, people like to listen to people have actual conversations.
Well, they're also listening, and it's a new way of ingesting entertainment. Like, you're getting it in your car, you're getting it in your ears when you're at the gym, when you're on the subway or a bus or a plane. And you're getting these stimulating long form conversations that maybe people didn't even know they wanted. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
And everybody loves a great conversation with someone. So it's like you get to have that conversation without participating.
Right. And Stern definitely was like, we were talking about before and after, like there was talk radio, but it kind of starts there. I think you started to be like, I can listen to this guy for a long time.
Yeah, he broke through the membrane, like we were talking about Hendrix entering into a new dimension of sounds. He broke through the membrane of talk radio, and what he's doing now is, well, now he's a man in his 60s who's extremely wealthy, and he has I'm sure some regrets, as you were talking about the things that he's done in the past and said in the past. And it's also like, this is who he is now. He's not going to pretend that he's just wants to bring strippers in and have them ride the Sybian every day. And when people get upset that he's changed, well, I hope you change too, man.
Yeah.
I hope everybody changes.
No, that's what I mean. True. Yeah. It's true. It's not quite Dylan when he's 24 and being anointed, plugging in a guitar. But I do think it's when people sort of go, hey, I'm gonna be where I am.
Yes.
And you got to deal with it.
Right.
That's positive, I think.
Well, it's definitely better than leaning into it and being what people want you to be, and then be struggling with that and tortured by that.
I actually think most of people who, I think that mostly ends up badly.
Yes. Yeah, I think whenever you don't go with whoever you actually are, and whenever you don't acknowledge that whoever you actually are has changed, you know, if you're growing and learning and having these epiphanies and these realizations about yourself and where you fit into your own life and how you've interacted with people in your life, you're not making adjustments, and you're only doing it that way because you think that's what people expect of you. Well, you're a prisoner to your own first incarnation.
Yeah.
You know, the first thing that people saw, and that was Kinnison. Ow! Right. And he's a kind of a prisoner to that forever.
Yeah.
And acknowledged it.
Yeah,
you know?
it's why anybody who it's not even Act 2. Anybody who keeps doing interesting things through phases is even more impressive.
Yeah, that's also. Is it hard as an actor too if you get an iconic role and then you are sort of always remembered for being that guy in that thing? Like how much of a is it a hard transition to go from an iconic role to going into your next role where people still want to talk about the big movie that you were in just a year or two ago?
That hasn't been a big thing for me. I think I tend to take a bit of time between things, and also I don't know, when like the first thing I did, what kind of popped off pretty hot, and then everyone's like sending me like this, psychotic, interesting characters, and I was like, well, I think I'll do a musical with Woody Allen, you know what I mean, and wear a plaid jacket and do a dance number, and Harry Winston's like
switch it up.
Yeah, and then what's really weird is I did that first. I played this lawyer. I played a young lawyer in the Larry Flint film, right? Mm-hmm. Which, and off of that, I got this distinct vibe of like, hey, the next John Grisham movie is kind of like the way you were talking in court in that movie, you would kill in this John Grisham thing as the young lawyer or whatever. And I remember I met Francis Coppola was going to direct The Rainmaker, this Grisham thing, and I was up for it. I didn't get it. Matt Damon got it, and I didn't do some ballsy thing like say that's not for me. I was like Francis Coppola. I was like, I want this, thing. But when I was talking to him about it, and thinking to myself a little bit like, this seems a little square, but it's like Francis Coppola, you know what I mean? And it's like, and he, when I was talking to him about it, he was like, well, what are you what are you working on? What are you interested in? And I was telling him about my friend David, who had written this American History X, and that we were working on it. I was kind of telling him what we were trying to do with it and how we wanted to make it as this kind of like guerrilla, thing. And he was like, you should do that. You should do that immediately. And I was like, well, I was like, don't cancel, don't, you know, I still want to do this with you. He's like, no, I think you should do like the way you're talking about that. And he said, if you do that now, they'll never know what to do with you. Like they'll never be able to put you in a box.
Right.
Kind of, because that's just, you know, if you pull that off. And I kind of was like, I did have an agent at the time. He was really old school, really funny, and he was kind of like, he didn't understand that. He was like, find something big. Let's find something big director, big film, big franchise, whatever. And I remember thinking like, nah, I think I'm gonna do this, and we knocked that off. And the funny thing is, you say, well, does that become a trap? That wasn't a trap. That was like a liberation. It's almost like doing that part. It was like a permanent hand grenade on. It was like, well, we never know what to expect now, right? So it becomes like liberation at a certain point, because like I weigh 150, you know, like I'm not big, so like once you do something like that, it's sort of like, this guy's this guy's kinky. What the hell are we gonna do with him? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it's just sort of like you get to decide for yourself in a way.
That's brilliant. Yeah, like Robert Downey Jr., as amazing as he is always going to be Iron Man. Like that, sometimes you get one of those roles, you know, like Thor, Chris Hemsworth. He's fucking Thor, dude. You're Thor forever. You know, you flirted with that.
It depends on, and I think it depends on how many of them you do.
But when you did the Hulk, were you worried about that?
A little bit.
Was there any hesitation? Because I was surprised when you did that. I was like, this is an interesting choice.
As is evident, I got more worried about it. You know, I was very interested because I loved it. I'm not like snobby about it. I loved those like comics, and I subscribed to them. Yeah. I subscribed to Hulk. All the darker stuff, like Dark Knight, Frank Miller, the whole. All of it was really, you know, it was something I really latched onto, and I love the Bill Bixby Hulk. Yep, like he's it for me. He's always for anyone our age.
But that's
like
the thing,
you know,
though. Like
walking away at the end of the show.
Yeah,
that's it. And I thought.
That's the thing. Like he played a good Hulk, yo. But why didn't he go back for another one? Like. The guy who plays the Hulk now, he's not a bad actor, yo. I don't know what else I've seen him in other than the Avengers. See, because the guy who plays the Hulk now, he plays the Hulk. Well, the Hulk has his own movie since the first one. But the initial, like, how they did the whole Avengers thing, it was like everybody got their own movie. And then they all came together as the Avengers. And so, Ed Norton, he did to be a part of the Avengers and how David Banner got hooked up with the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that shit like that. So he did the original standalone Incredible Hulk movie, and he killed that shit, yo. Like, and when they switched it up throughout the rest of the Avengers series and gave it to the other guy, I was like, kind of miss Ed. But then at the same time, like, how it plays out, and then I don't think I can see Ed Norton in like the Avengers cast with all the other characters. Like, I don't know if he would fit in with that shit, but I don't know.
I tend to get just the way I felt about American History X. I actually thought American History X was sort of like Othello or Macbeth. I thought it was. That's what I said to David. He had written this kind of edgy thing with the drug plot in it. And I was like, I think you strip all that away and you literally just make this about rage, destroying a person who's got a lot in him. It's like a Shakespearean tragedy, but it's skinheads, you know. And that really lit David up, and that's where we went with that, right? But Hulk is like it's Prometheus, right? The guy who steals fire from the gods for people, but he gets burned doing it and is cursed, right? He's trying to take like the power of nature back out to people from the gods, and he gets burned. And that's how I thought about it. I was like, if we could do something like that leans into this guy who thinks he's going for something good that's going to help humanity, and he cracks open like the backside of God and takes something out that is not meant to be taken out, and now he's cursed. Like cursed, that's what was amazing. Even as silly as the show was on some levels, Bill Bixby was cursed.
Yeah.
Like that's what, and the end of every show you were like, oh my God, he's
Poor
still
bastard.
cursed, like
Yeah.
alone in the world and cursed, right? And there's something pretty heavy in that, like pretty cool in that, and so it wasn't. I thought it was like really worth a crack.
I fucking loved it. How did that scene come to play where you were with Hicks and Gracie?
Oh, because I studied Aikido when I was in college. I was studying Aikido, and then when I was studying Aikido, Hoist Gracie won the. That was when
Ultimate Fighting Championship.
That was like the late '80s, right?
1993.
93. Okay.
Close.
Yeah.
5
So
years
he
later.
right. So but I became aware. Oh no, that's it. That you're right. You're right. Because I was in New York. I was studying Aikido in New York, and Hoist Gracie won that first UFC. And like I said, I'm 6 feet tall, but I literally, if I'm in shape, I weigh like 155, right? And Hoist, when he won that, was
176,
like 6
yeah.
feet and
Yep.
under 180, right?
Yep.
And I remember it melted everybody's mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it melted everybody's mind, and
It's a bad habit.
so I
can't hardly
became
cut
interested
like that.
in them, and what they were doing,
I couldn't
honestly.
towards myself,
do you know that?
but beside myself.
In
like
the
this
story,
way.
in that family's whole crazy story about being.
If anything happens, I'll do that.
They were Scottish. The grandfather was Scottish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like a consular. He was a customs official in Brazil. And because he had a good relationship with the Japanese consul, and was very generous in helping Japanese people get their papers to come through and in, the Japanese consul, I think the story is, who knew Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu, offered to like teach his son.
Yeah, it was Count Maeda.
Right.
Yeah, who
right.
came to Brazil and taught Carlos and Horian and Ilio. Well, mostly Ilio.
Who were the fathers
yes.
of the Hoist Sixon generation,
and
right?
then Ilio's oldest son, I think Horian was the oldest son. He's the one who created the Ultimate Fighting Championship. But Hickson, the reason why it was so significant that you had him is that was the champion of the family. Like,
right.
Undeniably, undisputed, everyone throughout jiu-jitsu. It's very, very rare that one figure is universally recognized as being the superior product of jiu-jitsu, and that was Hickson.
Yeah, if you followed that stuff at all, you kind of heard that breakdown of it, and
yeah.
I thought a part of the story, I think Hickson told me when we were in Rio, I think what he said to me was that the reason Gracie Jiu-Jitsu became its particular derivation and its particular kind of thing that allowed Hoist to do so well was because their father was smaller than his brothers.
That's Ilio.
Right,
Yeah.
and they were all bigger, and because he was smaller, he adapted.
Yes.
He adapted the style to work for a smaller person against a bigger person.
Yes.
Obviously, and then that kind of like reached its pinnacle with Hoist winning that tournament, which this gets down in the weeds for people who aren't into stuff, but it was, that you talk about these things, the cracking through moment, right?
Yes.
That was a cracking through moment. It was like, wait a minute, a guy his size just literally won an all size tournament. Like, how is that possible? You know what I mean? And it was like,
yeah, go to my Instagram, Paintings by the Prince. You can see the last two portrait commissions I just got finished doing. Delicious. Alright, so somehow I gotta attach this in a way. Aha! But then, see, that ain't gonna work. Cause his whole shoulders come up. But that's why, well, I could cut that like that, kind of, maybe. No. But I did draw it out a different way because I anticipated for that. So we're gonna have to hinge the shoulders and the elbows. So if I were to cut these shoulders off, snip, snip, miss the paper, cause I get that paper. Snip, snip, motherfucker. Toodaloo, toodaloo, toodaloo. So a loo is a toilet. So if someone says to the loo, do they mean to say to the toilet? To the loo. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this is going to work at all, but I'm going to give it an honest shot. I need that piece of paper. And my glue stick, okay, because I'm just cutting and gluing, you know what I'm saying? It will cut and glue. Cut and paste, same thing. Alright, so you're going to put some glue on this thing, right? Like that. Flip it over, smooth it out. Got it gluing myself. Dang. Alright, cut and paste, cut and paste. Put some glue on that. Flip that over, glue that down on the edges. Make sure the edges parts. Alright, glue stick. Sharpie, draw some lines, kind of like this, I guess, something like that maybe. Put some lines on it. Ugh. Ah ha ha ha. So I'm gonna have to cut that off of there, but I don't know exactly how much I'm gonna have to cut. But at the same time, come on, cardboard. Let's be quicker like this. John Witherspoon, damn. Yo, rest in peace, Mr. John Witherspoon. From the rooter to the tutor. My father has on a mushroom belt. Ate everything on the pig from the rooter to the tutor. Yo, Crown Boys. What up? Okay, now. I need something like a toothpick. I need something like a toothpick. Something like a toothpick. You know what? I can just pin it with some wire. I'm making a mock-up for a museum exhibit that I'm supposed to be doing. But I want him to lift the weights up. So his arms should do this kind of motion. But of course, these shoulders can't be attached to the forearms because it looks like his whole shoulders is going up. So I'm gonna cut the shoulders off of here and add a whole separate joint to it so that the shoulder and the elbow have a pivot point, so it'll look a little more natural when it goes up, I'm guessing, but not really. We'll see. Let's see how this works out. So, don't hate on my genius. Do not hate on my genius. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Don't hate on my genius. It's getting late. It's cold outside, and you know what? I don't give a damn because I got some steaks and I'm cooking on the grill tonight, yo. Something about when I eat steak, man, like that shit got to be grilled. Yo. I can't really eat that shit like out the oven or on the stove top. It don't be tasting the same. You feel me? It don't be tasting the same, dog. That steak don't be tasting the same. So, I'ma just do it like this, and I'ma do it like that. Poke a little hole here, and I'ma set it right back. So I'ma do it like this, and I'ma do it like that. I'ma poke a hole here. I know she gonna like that. When I poke them holes, poke. And I'ma do it like this, and I'ma do it like that. I'ma poke this hole here, and I'ma come right back. I know you like this. I know you really like that. Cause I'ma poke this hole here. And she not gonna fight back when I poke. Like this. And I'm poke it like that. And when I do it like this, she ain't gonna fight back. I'ma do it like... That's a song in there somewhere. We just have to finish writing these lyrics. Come up with a nice chorus. And bada bing, bada boom. We got another one. Cause I'ma do it like this. And I'ma do it like that. I'ma poke this hole here. And then I'll be right back. Cause I'ma do it like this. And I'ma do it like that. I'ma poke this hole here. And she ain't gonna fight back when I poke. You will bend that. What? Stop playing. I can make me a stop motion animation video. Oh. Cause I'ma do it like this. And I'ma do it like that. I'ma poke this hole here. And she ain't gonna fight back. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. What? Poke. Ow! Don't poke me. I'm doing the poking. There it goes. I kind of fucked that one up a little bit. Really though? Okay, let's try that one again. Let's go. Take that, fool. Oh snap! Yo, I'm making something happen. I don't know what it's gonna turn out to be, but it gonna be something is surely happening right now, right before your very eyes. Ain't nothing but one more sip left in there. I gotta watch out how I drink that. So. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, I did something that I probably didn't even have to do, and I hate that. That means I wasted time. But I want that one, yeah. So I'm pretty sure. No, I cut it up. I'm pretty sure I want this one on top. Really? Just hold your behind tight. Right here. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Just flip over without me breaking you. This is what I need assistance for. I need to come up with the idea and then have someone else execute that shit for me. No! No! Barney! Well, God damn it, man. You son of a... Really? This is worse than trying to get pajamas on a baby. Stop moving. Just put your arm in it. If you stop squirming. You know what? It's going from the top. Just hold still while I fasten this. Now, Y'all ready for that last sip? What? I think I'm ready for that last sip there, boy. I ain't want to get too tipsy because I plan on cooking on the grill. And that calls us for fire. And drunk people and fire don't normally go good together. So don't get too tipsy if you're going to be the grill master. Words from the wise. I learned my lessons. Life lesson 137. Don't get drunk if you're the grill master. That's not too much charcoal. Yo, say ain't the man, yo. Say ain't the man. I'll fuck you up. Ooh, huh. 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 Oh. That shit hot, right? So now what I need to do is mount this to a board. I need more cardboard. So I need to mount that to a board, right? I'm gonna mount this some way to another piece of board, and then I'm gonna put something on here that I can tie a string on, right? And then the string will go up and then go through the board and come down behind the board and then come to the side and then come back out the board. So when you pull the string, his arms will go up. So it'll be like this, and the string will be attached to it, and you pull the string, and then you let it go. And you pull the string, and you let it go. And each time you pull the string, his arms go up like, rah, ha. And I think that shit is hot. What do you guys think? I'm a genius. I'm a genius, goddamn son. I should have been an engineer. That piece right there looking kind of flimsy, like, you know. Oh, what if I ooh. Popsicle sticks. Popsicle sticks. No real reason for me to actually use this. We're gonna see something real quick though. Let me see. See if I can brace this a little bit, because it is kind of flimsy, like for real though. Now, nice and sturdy. Brace that shit with a popsicle stick. Why? Because I'm a genius. Simple problems calls for simple solutions. And I'm a genius. And I got a big penis. Ooh. Ooh. He rhyming. Okay, okay. That doesn't look too bad, actually. You know, I'm kind of digging that. I'm actually kind of feeling that. Now, if I can just mount it to another board some type of way, in which, let's see. Okay, come here. It might work. What in the... Oh, it's right here. Don't panic, it's right in front of your face. You're out of here.
his like jaw hits floor. And to me, what was really interesting was I was really little all the way until literally the end of high school. I was very small. I grew a lot in my when I was like 17. But I was really interested in Japan, and I was interested in martial arts, and James Clavell's Shogun, and I would I took like a karate class, and it scared me. It was people, if they were bigger and faster, it was just scary. If you were little, it was like, I can't. It doesn't matter if I can do these combos or whatever. In truth, I'm terrified of anybody bigger than me, and I don't feel that this is teaching me anything that I would have the confidence to use to defend myself, right? That's how I felt as a kid. And when I bumped into Aikido, it completely changed my mind. There was an incredible teacher in New Haven when I was in college, and he was small. He was like, maybe smaller than Royce Gracie or whatever. And the guy was unbelievably potent, just one of the most potent teachers in anything I ever had. I was riveted by this guy, and it kind of started to make me believe that with grappling and locking, which there's a lot of jiu-jitsu in Aikido, and I was sort of I was fascinated. I started feeling like this makes me feel like it's not like kicking someone's ass at all. It's just more like I feel more empowered. I feel able to handle an authentic situation, which is mentally empowering more than I want to get into scraps.
Right.
And it was just kind of amazing. It's like having a secret in a way that, whoa, there's a secret to a much smaller person being able to lever a much bigger person. And then that thing happened with the Gracies, and it was sort of like the whole thing cracked open. It was like this. It was like proof.
Yes.
In a way, and if you were interested in that stuff, it was an incredible moment. But because of my interest in that for years, when we went to Rio, and I had been working on the script with that movie and stuff, and I was really interested in this idea that Banner is desperate for control, right? That he desperately needs to control his heart rate, his breathing, that it's a massive liability in his mind if he can't control his emotions and his adrenaline. And I was like, well, who in the world? And I'd seen the videos of Hicks. I'd never met him or any of them, but I'd seen the videos of him doing the amazing stuff with his stomach.
Yeah, the yoga.
And the breathing.
Fire
breathing. And I was like, I just was like, we have to. And everyone was like, who's that? I was like, Philistines. You're all Philistines. And I was like, find me Rickson Gracie and ask him if he'll do a scene with me in the movie, being the guy who's training Banner to calm himself. And he was there, and he did it with us. Wow. And it was I was like,
yeah, there it is right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw this in the movie, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. What a smart move.
Yeah. And I was like, I was like, yeah, see, I forgot this. Holy crap, I haven't looked at this in a long time. Look how charismatic he is. He's too. Amazing. I mean, the guy could have been like Charles Bronson.
100%.
Like a movie star.
Did you ever see Choke, the documentary?
Yeah.
One of the greatest documentaries in history.
It's like Pumping
absolutely,
Iron.
Yeah, absolutely for martial arts. And it details Rickson's journeys to Japan, to fight in Japan Valley Tudo, which was around 94, which is right after his brother had won the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And the story was that if his brother lost, Rickson was going in. The idea was, we'll bring in Royce because it's more impressive. He's a smaller man. He's not physically imposing. Whereas Rickson in that video there, he was older. When he was young, he was, very fit, and he was big into yoga and physical fitness, and he had the strongest body of all the Gracies. He looked very formidable.
Right.
Whereas Royce looked unassuming, and it was more of an advertisement of jiu-jitsu if Royce could beat everybody, and Royce wound up doing. But if, at any rate,
the Japanese are planning something big. What's the target? We believe it's Midway.
Washington disagrees.
Washington is wrong.
If we lose, the West Coast will burn.
We're setting a trap at the island of Midway.
Today we're going to be underdogs.
Reason if they needed to bring in the big guy. It was going to be Rickson. And Royce always talked about it, Rickson could tap him left and right. And everybody was like, that doesn't even make sense.
Right.
Royce is the ultimate fighting champion.
Yeah.
He's the guy. but his brother would just run right through him. He would run right through everybody. They would have a line of black belts, and they would all wait for their turn to get tapped, and they would roll with Rickson, and he would just dismantle everybody. People that thought they understood jiu-jitsu. It's so there's so many levels and layers to jiu-jitsu that even though it looks like, what is the difference? This guy's doing an arm bar, you're doing an arm bar. There's specifics in the intricate aspects of the positions that Rickson understood that they just didn't understand. And then on top of that, he had much greater control of his body because of his yoga background. I mean, he became obsessed with yoga.
And breathing.
Yeah, some breathing and something called gymnastica natural, which was like a style of movement that was like sort of like vinyasa yoga with all these like flowing postures, but also with a bunch of like almost like animal movements to it too. And it was a very physically demanding thing, and he became outstanding at that as well. All right?
Sorry.
But it's people don't, from the outside, when you start talking about things like jiu-jitsu and ultimate fighting, you think of like this brutal, violent, but it's an intellectual pursuit and it's a spiritual pursuit, because to be the person that can overcome all of the obstacles, you have to have incredible control of your emotions and your thought processes and your understanding of who you are. That, I think, is one of the things that separated Rickson from everybody.
I do too. I also think that people don't realize that
I gotta go.
a lot of stress, a lot of aggression. It's like aggression actually is like paired with stress usually. You know what I mean? It's hard to be aggressive, super aggressive without a little bit of like adrenaline pumping and stress and all these things. And the truth is like there's so much of the training. If you're actually training stuff, what you're training yourself to do is be calm. And that's like totally counterintuitive, because people think, no, you got to go in there like Rocky and, want to win. And it's like, well, in a fighting in a competition, sure, on some level, but really, really, really great people, kind of in any sport, but it's even more counterintuitive in fighting is you need to cultivate calm.
Yes.
And the ability to be clinical and think calmly, control your breathing, because like you get exhausted if you can't control your breathing. And the truth is that those are life skills that are actually they cultivate a very upbeat calm. It developed by a guy, Morihei Ueshiba, who was an all-round Bujutsu master. He was like in Jiu-Jitsu, Kendo, karate, all these things, and he developed Aikido because he had joined the global pacifist movement. He was like one of the most respected like cross-form Japanese martial artists, and he joined the same movement for pacifism that Gandhi was a part of in like the 20s, and he believed that martial arts could contribute to pacifism if they refined, and Aikido was a refinement of Kendo, Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, and he basically said, I'm going to develop a non-aggressive martial art that has no attacks, and there's an uke in it, like for the thing, but it's only a defensive, and it's like that phrase we all hear, redirection of energy, the conversion of negative energy into neutral. That is really his contribution. He was like, you can take the most aggressive energy and you can neutralize it. And you can neutralize it very peacefully, or you can neutralize it with a little more teeth in it, depending on how aggressive the person's being. But I loved that. I thought that was amazing, because it was like, I wasn't like looking to be in fight, but I loved the idea that you could have control and you could like neutralize. And I think there's something kind of amazing in that. I think it's like actually aligns with like yoga, with meditation, with all things, surfing. I mean, that's what surfing is. It's like there's all this energy coming at you, like, and it's gonna like put you into the rocks or rock you or flip you over or hurt you, but you don't let that happen. You look at it, you look at a million waves, you figure out how to move yourself, you get in there, and you get the exact opposite of getting torched. You get like the best thing ever, right? And I think things like that are, those are like Zen, you know what I mean? And I think like jiu-jitsu, what you're saying is really ultimately like why he was great is he had like the deepest Zen of anybody in the whole thing, because he was the calmest. and he had like the micro understanding of forms, but really like it's something deeper. It's like it's like Neo in the Matrix. He's like seeing it with more granularity.
Yeah, he had everything. He
Yeah.
had the full package of it. Did you ever see any of Steven Seagal when he was very young?
Mm-hmm.
When he was
Yep.
teaching in Japan?
I was totally fast. I mean, it's like, and it's really,
It's weird,
like,
right?
Like me, right? Like
Yeah.
like serious actor, thoughtful actor. I'm like, what did you know? But I like Above the Law.
Yeah.
Because I was into all that stuff when Above the Law came out, and there was the scene in Above the Law, and he's in an Aikido, gi with the black thing, and he's doing this thing, and I was like, oh my god, like this is so cool. Like, when have you ever seen this in a movie?
Yeah.
And he was a big guy.
And he made it violent.
Yeah,
It was
big
very
and-
unusual sort of contribution to martial arts, because in martial arts movies,
Yeah.
he made it realistic.
Yeah.
Like, it was one of the most realistic martial arts movies ever.
Yeah, it was, and when you look back on it, it there's things about it that don't date
Yeah,
super well.
of course, but he was
and
undeniably
literally what you just
skillful.
showed, the
Yeah.
thing of the guy coming, it's that simple thing, that thrust and the break and the thing. It's
Yes.
He also, in the film, when the guys come at him, shows you how it burns your brain. There's a scene where there's in a bodega, and the guy, I think he smashes a bottle, and he comes at him, and he does like a move in Aikido. It's called like kotekaishi. It's like it's like the wrist, it's like the wrist break, flip over, and it was just like, oh my god, like he's doing like nuanced Aikido moves in a big action movie. It was kind of cool.
Well, he was one of the first, I think the first Westerner to run a dojo in Japan. I mean, he was a legitimate Aikido master.
Yeah, and I think, but what's interesting is when I studied over there, it was slightly controversial, because I don't think he had broken away from like Yushiba Aikido. He was doing like the way that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is not pure Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. He was doing something with this. It was associated more with Osaka than Tokyo, where the Hombu Dojo and Aikido is. And there was
some controversy.
Yeah, there was just like the way things are with schools of thought. But yeah, he had a certain legit kind of thing, and it's really wild because people like Mike Ovitz, who was like the power agent of all of Hollywood in the '80s. Mike got a black belt training with Seagal. Like, he was really serious Aikidoist.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
But he's a cautionary tale too, though. I mean, not even Ovis. I mean, Seagal.
Yeah.
What he become.
I guess. Honestly, I don't know anything about him past a certain point. Like, I don't know what went on there.
Yeah.
But
you can leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't.
Tell me about your new movie. Let's leave it at that.
It's called Motherless Brooklyn. It was kind of a big swing, because I wrote it and I produced it. And
Is this the first time you've done that?
Directed it. I produced and directed the first movie I directed is Keeping the Faith. It's me and Ben Stiller play a rabbi and a priest who are best friends, and they both fall for the same girl. Did you ever see that one?
No, I didn't.
It's funny. Yeah, you'd like it. Ben is hilarious in it. That was obviously lighter. That was a lighter kind of movie, but it was in. I've lived in New York almost 30 years, and I like making movies in New York a lot. That was a pretty light one. This one is more. This takes place in the 50s in New York, and it's kind of. It's got a Chinatown, LA Confidential kind of a noir bent to it. It's a mystery, a murder mystery of kind of that leads into some of the stuff that happened in New York in the 50s that is hard to believe, because New York was run by it was run by basically a Darth Vader-like figure who was never elected to public office, and people thought he was the Parks Commissioner of New York, but he was from 1930 to 1968. He had uncontested authoritarian power over New York City and New York State, and he made every significant decision about the way that the modern infrastructure of New York was built, where the roads went, where the bridges were built, what was torn down, where the projects were built. And he was very racist, and he baked like really discriminatory things that almost sound like conspiracy theory. They're so wild and intense into the decisions he made. He was responsible for the Dodgers leaving Brooklyn and going to LA. And nobody knows this. Like you think of New York as that's like the great egalitarian melting pot city where democracy works, except that it was run by a total autocrat.
For 38 years?
Yeah, he's largely, it's broadly accepted that no mayor or governor of New York could do a single thing without his say-so from basically about 1930 to about 1968.
How is that even possible?
Yeah.
How come no one knows this? How did you find out?
People do. There's huge, like in one of the big Burns Brothers documentaries about New York, there's literally almost a whole episode on him. There's a great book about him that won the Pulitzer Prize, and there's his name was Robert Moses, and there's Robert Moses State Beach in New York, but literally people think he was the Parks Commissioner, but he was like Anakin Skywalker. He was like a Jedi Knight. He was a big liberal, progressive believer in progressive change and government reform, and in his early years he got crushed by Tammany Hall and the power brokers, and he went dark, went completely. Yeah. That's not the most imposing picture of him that you've got up. There's other ones. That's an imposing picture. Find one of the ones of him standing in front of his models. There's famous ones of him.
That looks like a man of will.
Yeah, actually, to the left of that, and keep going to the left of that. Because there's a scene in our movie where Alec Baldwin is literally like that. Yeah, Alec Baldwin essentially plays a character who's based on him, inspired by him, I should say. It's not at all in my film. It's not the true story. But yeah, there you go. But I think this idea, I was really interested in this idea. You know, what's great about Chinatown as a film is it's mostly sexy. You don't know what the hell is going on in that movie. Like, until 20 minutes before the end, you have absolutely no idea really what's going on in that movie. But it's just sexy. It's like, the music is amazing. The photography's incredible. The actors are like adult and real, and he's Nicholson, right? The hook is like, Nicholson is so cool, you really will kind of follow him. You'll watch the way he deals with anything, and you're just laughing and enjoying it, right? But underneath it all, when you're done, you go, is that true? Is LA basically built on stolen water? Is that like LA's original sin, is that people made fortunes, the valley was just farms, and they stole the water from up north and, rigged the game and made these gigantic fortunes by irrigating San Fernando Valley. And you come away with an awareness that like the California story is not exactly what it's cracked up to be, right? There's some big crimes underneath it, and the people who and that in that movie, it's like, the people ripped everybody off. They faked droughts. They created fortunes themselves, and the type of people who did that also raped their daughters. Literally, that's like what that movie is about. And it's pretty bleak. It's like, you can't make a difference. You cannot change anything. Like, and if you try, the person you're trying to help is going to end up with a bullet through her eye, dead on the steering wheel. Like, it's a really dark movie. And people forget that because you just go, oh, Nicholson, Faye Dunaway. It's like, nah, that's a really, really bleak movie. But I love the idea that you can do things where like the pleasure of it is like the pleasure of movies. It's grown up. It's kind of what we've been talking about. It's like if you said to most people, if you showed Chinatown to most critics today, they'd go long, boring, whatever. It's like, you want to say fuck off. Like, fuck off. Like, what is it that why are you assuming people can't handle grown up? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that I really dig those things where you go through, the movie starts, you look at it and you go, this looks really good. This looks really grown up. This is big. The actors are like adult and authoritative. The dialogue's great. The music is great. It's hypnotic. And your brain just goes, I don't know what's going on. I don't care. I'm bought in. And if there's a character in it that you can hook into, you float through those movies. You just kind of go, where's this going? What's going on? Oh man, that guy, she's great. He's great. Wow. Like this is just all juicy and great. And by the end, you get somewhere and you kind of go, I'll be damned. That actually was about big things. Did those things really happen? You know, I really dig those movies. I dig Chinatown, LA Confidential. I think The Godfather works that way. The Godfather is about immigrants. You know, it's about immigrants normalizing in America. You know, it's like that's a long movie. You just settle in for that movie.
Right.
Your brain settles in and just goes, this just couldn't be better. I couldn't be happier to be watching this scene after scene after scene. And I wanted to try to make one of those, you know, myself. Like I wanted to try to make one of those, because it's cliche to say like they don't make those anymore, but
right.
But I think, you know, they were always hard. It's not like they were easy once and now they're hard. They were always hard. But I would look at people like Warren Beatty. He made Reds, you know, which is one of the great movies from that era. Even like Spike Lee doing Do the Right Thing. I don't know if you remember when that movie hit.
Sure.
It was massive. It was a huge deal to me. I was like 18 or 19.
Yeah.
I saw that movie and I was like, he just rewrote the game. Like this kid, who the hell is it? He wrote it, he directed it, he acted in it, he got Public Enemy to do the music.
Yeah.
It's about his neighborhood in New York, but it's about like race in America. It's like, oh my God, that guy just took like a huge swing and connected on like every level. And it didn't even give you some BS kind of like, don't worry, it's going to be okay in the end.
Right.
It was like, Martin Luther King says violence is not the way. Malcolm X says sometimes it's the only rational response. What do you think? You know what I mean? It was so ballsy. It was so ballsy, that movie. And I think, like, after a while, it's sort of like, I just started feeling like, well, you know, I don't really need to gig. I might as well. I've worked with a lot of great people. I've worked with some pretty great directors, including Spike. And I was kind of like, been in New York a long time, and I just thought it was really weird no one knew that story. And I was like, I'm going to try to make one about this, you know.
As someone who doesn't make movies, I always wonder, like, what happened between, like, say, Steve McQueen's Le Mans.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see that movie?
Of course, yeah.
You remember how there's no dialogue at all for, like, the longest time? And I remember I watched it recently within the last couple of years, and one of the thoughts was, I don't even know if they could do this today. If anybody would allow them to make a movie where no one talks for a long time. They're just sort of setting the stage of what it means to be a race car driver, and what's the atmosphere of the races. It's just the idea that you were saying earlier about having this short attention span theater, these movies that are designed for what they believe is a populace of people that don't have the interest in something that's more unique or something that requires thought, something that drags you in. And that was much more common in the past. Like, why was it more common in that era of McQueen and all those other movies that they did like that? And what has happened? And like with these rare examples, like when a guy does break through with something like Do the Right Thing, or a few other examples, why doesn't that stimulate the appetite for more?
Well,
is it that?
This is the greatest intelligence failure in American history. The Japanese are planning something bigger. What's the target? We believe it's Midway.
Washington disagrees.
Washington is wrong. Today we're going to be underdogs.
And if you want to bow out, now's your chance. We all want to fly, sir.
Good luck, boys.
We're doing it!
Not hard to do.
On one level.
So this is the basic design. This is the concept that will be made out of better materials and flow and work much better when it has like different connectors and washers in between it to stop the drag from it not flowing back down. But essentially you have this system where you have a string or some type of pulley connection in the front, and when you pull it, his arms go up and it looks like he's lifting weights. It's pretty cool, right? Put a string in the front, Arms go up. So, this may be one of the exhibits at our Black History Month exhibit for the Black Strand Project. And I'll try to finalize this design a little bit more. And see how that works. You know, on the end of this, wow. I guess I need a stronger string than that. Alright, well, we'll get a different string and try something different later on. I'm going to take a break from the studio. Probably get myself some dinner together. Need to clean up some of this dang on paper.
Very excited to be here. Very exciting for me to be here, to be able to talk to you about your story.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right, I'm about to go fix me a quick dinner of some steak and asparagus. One of my favorite go-to meals because it only takes about 20 minutes to make. Steak and asparagus. And after that, I'm playing some video games and I might watch an episode of the Wu-Tang American Saga. Where's this controller? Here it is. Yeah, I appreciate y'all guys watching. And watching me make this mock-up presentation for the museum to see if we can actually use this concept for our Black History Month exhibition. And we'll be back in here with some other paintings next time. Peace.